Today, I'm going to be telling you how your thumbnail can actually lead to your video getting 10 times or even 100 times the views it would normally get, even after you believe that it's failed and you've basically abandoned the project. Now, in today's video, we are going to be delving into something which I think is very important for a lot of YouTubers and actually cripples the growth of the vast majority of small YouTubers. And it's an issue that really no one talks about. So we're going to be diving into depth into that. But before we do, I want to go ahead and urge you to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already, because I am going to be telling you about all the different thumbnail design principles you need to know about. So if you want to know about those and learn how to make your channel successful, well, go ahead and subscribe. And now let's go ahead and get into the actual content of the video. Now, before I actually tell you the trick you can use to essentially 10 times your views after you think your video has failed, let's go ahead and talk about why your video is failing and essentially what usually happens and what you're probably doing after you think your video has failed. So, when you put a video up, obviously, essentially the success of your video is very much reliant on a few different things. Number one, it's reliant on the title, how attractive people find that, and how interested they are in the title of your video. Number two, obviously, it's reliant on the thumbnail of your video, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And finally, it's reliant on the description of your video as well. Now, admittedly, there is a very small, very slim section of it that is reliant on YouTube tags, but the tags aren't nearly as important as the description, as the thumbnail, and as the title, so we're just going to be focusing on those three things today. Now, when you put up your video, you obviously, if you're trying to grow, you put a lot of effort into your thumbnail, into your title, and into your description. You have worked on those and you have forced them into something you think is going to work. Now, you put up your video and it falls flat. Essentially, it's just not working. Now, if you know anything about YouTube, you know that essentially click-through rate is one of the most important things you can have for your video. If you get 10,000 impressions with a 10% click-through rate, that is 1,000 views. But if you get 10,000 impressions with a 50% click-through rate, that's 5,000 views. You know the click-through rate is incredibly important. And another important thing about the click-through rate is that YouTube recommends videos with higher click-through rates. This is how massive YouTubers like Mr. Beast actually grow their content and make it go viral every single time. Because people want to click on his thumbnails. They draw interest. They make people want to watch his content, and that is how he succeeds. Now, back to your video which you have published on your channel and has essentially failed. When you put up that video that you worked hard on, you put it up and then it just doesn't take off. You're sitting there and you're like, well, I guess my video has failed. Time to move on. Time to move on to tomorrow and make another video. And here is the mistake that you can work on changing and that you can use to turn these failures into videos that generate you thousands of views. Essentially, the mistake is that you aren't changing anything about your video. You're just abandoning it, and then moving on. And this is the problem. This is a crucial issue. The YouTube thumbnail is oftentimes extraordinarily tied to how many views you get and your click-through rate. Let's say there's a video, and I've seen this before, with like 10,000 different impressions. 10,000 impressions. Each of those impressions, of course, is when the video pops up on someone's page and they have the potential to click it. This video had about an 0.6% click-through rate. Now, normally, your click-through rate is probably going to be anywhere between 2 to 5% for a video that isn't really optimized. But if your video is doing really bad, then it might be anywhere between 0.5% or 2%. And if you're not getting that click-through rate, YouTube says that your videos aren't interesting. They don't think that someone wants to see your videos because no one's clicking them. No one does want to see them. So they're not going to recommend them. But they are going to test it because YouTube wants to test the waters. They want to make sure that your video isn't appealing to people before they essentially completely cut you off, before you are sitting there and your video never has another chance. Now obviously, it can't have another chance. I'm not saying that as a set rule. But the important thing to remember is that oftentimes YouTube continues to show your video to people as essentially a test to see if they will want to watch your content. Even if they know that it's essentially underperforming and not going to get many views at all. So here's what you can do about it. When you notice that YouTube is not showing your content, or when you notice that your click-through rate is extremely low, go ahead and update your YouTube thumbnail. Take it down. Don't take down the video, but take down the thumbnail, reassess where you went wrong with the thumbnail, and then check out where you can go better. An example of this a while back was when I was putting up a video trying to grow a channel. Now I put up the video and I slapped a thumbnail on it, and initially that video was not doing very well at all. It was only getting a few views and the click-through rate was really bad. Now, the video had 4 different people in the thumbnail, which is not usually something I recommend, but in this case, it essentially needed these people to be in the thumbnail. Anyways, long story short, I realized that all I had to do was take the main person who the video was about and scale them up about to double the size of what they currently were. And as soon as I did that, the video went absolutely viral and actually ended up being the most viewed video on the channel I was trying to grow. And this is essentially a lesson in exactly how powerful changing your thumbnail is to your YouTube video. If you can change it before your failure is essentially complete, then you can turn that so-called failure into a viral YouTube success. And that's really what this is all about, because so many small YouTubers think that once their video has failed, it just means that it's over for it and they can never turn it around. But what you will learn if you really start looking into YouTube, thumbnail design, and essentially how to succeed on YouTube is you will learn that oftentimes, just by changing a few things around, A/B testing, and essentially modifying and tweaking little parts of your video, you can make yourself go viral. But that's going to be it for this video. That's the lesson in this video for your thumbnail design principles. I hope this did help you out. Go ahead and test it out on your channel. Remember to leave a like, subscribe, and drop a comment below if you have not already. It helps us out with the algorithm, and of course, it's gonna be a fantastic way for you to help your channel grow as well. That's it though for this video, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.